How you doing, folks? It's Ron Grovis from Ron's Beers and Tools. I have a beer to showcase today. As you can see in front of you, it's from Narragansett Brewing down there in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It's called Fresh Catch. I got a lot of history on this beer and the brewery. A lot of history on the brewery. But I want to say something about, before I start the review, about jobs in the United States. And I do know policemen, military, firemen put their lives on the line for all of us residents in this country. But there's another group of people that don't get much recognition, and I'd like to say a few words right now. It's nursing. The nurses that are in the hospitals all over the world, but most of the ones in this country. Nurses do yeoman work. I've had years ago, I've been in the hospital from a motorcycle accident to minor surgery many years later, in and out for certain things of wanting to get shots and so forth. But nurses are there to help, particularly for people that have had some major surgery. They can heal you a lot quicker by listening to them, telling you what to do. They know the ins and outs. They're like, if you remember that show, MASH on TV, the Korean War, there was a private radar, a corporal radar that he knew more than the colonel did. He knew more than the sergeants. He knew more than the medics. He knew more than the doctors, more than the officers. He knew what to kick to get it started, what everything was, and everything that had to be done, he could do it. Although he wasn't a colonel or an officer, he was an enlisted man. Like the nurses in our hospitals, they know where everything is. They know what to kick to get it started. And they treat the patients with utmost care and teaches them how to get better, how to heal quicker. Listening to the nurses in our hospitals is the thing to do. And I just want to say they don't get enough recognition as I think they should. I'm not knocking the doctors in those hospitals, but I want to give the recognition to nurses. And I thank our military and our police forces. But I want to also thank all the nurses all over the world, but more so in this country, and the ones that I've dealt with. I want to thank you for the job that you do, the dedication that you have done. So I thank you. And I know there's a lot of education in colleges, in schooling afterwards, and many schools keep going on the teaching. They keep learning, keep having classes as they're working in the hospitals or clinics, wherever they may be working. So I salute you, nurses of the United States of America. Thank you for jobs well done. Thank you. Okay, now we'll go back to this brew, because I want to review this. I'm excited to try it. This is a Narragansett Brewing Company. This is an old brewery down there in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This was started in 1888 by 6 gentlemen. And I'll put their names instead of reading. That'll be getting done with editing. Whoever the editor is, who edits these videos, they do a good job. That'll be in there. But one of the names was Jacob Worth. He was one of the 6 guys that invested and came out with $150,000, and they started and had built the biggest brewery in New England. It was one of the biggest ones at the time. In 1914. They built the most modern bottling plant in the region and was the largest brewery in New England. But back to this brewery here. This beer here is a 4.2% alcohol by volume with 23 international beer units. The style on this, it's a blonde ale with dry hops on it. As you can read in the can, let's get some info off the can. A refreshing golden ale, dry hop with Citra. So this has got Citra hops in it, and we all know the aromas of that and the flavors that comes out of that are real nice. It's ale. It's 4.2% by volume. This is a pint can, 16 fluid ounces. Lobsters are big in New England. The Maine lobster, as you can see here. New Englanders eat a lot of fish, me included. A lot of seafood, I should say, not fish, seafood. And clam bakes are very big in New England. This is made on honor, and it's sold on merit. Narragansett is a fine brewery. Now, I know Narragansett has a brewery up in Rochester, New York. I'm pretty sure. Let's see, we got it. Rochester, New York. I know they brew a lot of the beers for Narragansett. And what I was reading not too long ago, recently actually, was that the company up there, Genesee, in Rochester, New York, I think they have something to do with a company in Costa Rica. I'm not going to be really precise on this because I'm not sure exactly what curtails on that. But there was a company in Costa Rica that they, I guess, do some brewing of beers. I don't know if this one was. It doesn't really say on the can. It should say where it was canned and brewed in. They don't say this on the can. I'm assuming it's not. I'm hoping it's not brewed in Costa Rica. But there was something about, if you go to Genesee Brewery's webpage, they might say something on it. They have it in one of the sites that I was on when I was doing due diligence on this beer. But it's pretty interesting to know where your beer is brewed and you want to know who's brewing it. So I know more on the history of that. What I want to say is this company was built on a lot of fine times. I mean, it was really one of the largest brewers in New England. During Prohibition, they were granted permission to continue brewing a certain beer by the IRS to bottle the beer for medicinal purposes. I think I read about that, and I think the beer was porter. Was their porter. They hadn't brewed it in a long time. It's back now. I haven't seen it on the shelves in this part of New England. I know it's down in Rhode Island, but they could brew the porter. I'm pretty sure it was the porter during the Prohibition. A medicinal beer is what it was for. The IRS let them do that. But it didn't help the company really because they kind of went bad, which a lot of the companies did during Prohibition. And they ended up kind of getting together, getting a big loan from Rudolph Haffenreffer. And when that was said, he kind of took over the kind of ran Narragansett Brewery, is what he did. And on doing that, he led the company into really a good position. His son took over, and then in 1965, Rudolph Haffenreffer Jr. died, and Narragansett came back to be in Narragansett, 100% owned by Narragansett, which meant they had the labels of Haffenreffer, Pickwick Ale, which you can see over here, not to keep bouncing around different things. This is a Pickwick Ale. One of the companies was Pickwick Ale. That's an old company. That was back then. And Pickwick Bach Beer was another one. And basically they were property of purely Narragansett now. Well, let's take a look at this beer. If I keep talking, we want to see what the beer looks like. Well, let's talk. More beers we're here for. And we'll talk on the beer then. Yeah, okay, let's see what we got. So we're seeing water vapors coming out. Yeah. That's always nice to see. Try to get a good pour in here. Not too much of a head. That looks good. Whoa, it really looks really good. Oh, that really looks really good. That pour there is clear. Clear gold. A lot of carbonation appears to be. That looks good. There's the drone up. Looking good. It's kind of creamy edges. As you can see, the carbonation is still coming up. Definitely a fluffy head on that. Creamy on the edges. A nice looking beer. Nice looking head, actually. Get the drone all lined up here. That is a nice looking pair there. That can with the lobster on it. I know in New England, the Boston area particularly, we say lobster. For some reason we don't say the R, lobster. We say lobster. I don't know. That's just an accent that we have. And what we're going to be talking about is that I started to say the 6 investors that first started with Narragansett was Jacob Worth. And what I do want to say is, if anybody's coming to Boston, any tourists or business folks, you come to Boston, all you gals and guys, definitely go to Stewart Street in Boston. And on there is a restaurant called Jacob Worth. And it has stayed in time. It looks like a building on the insides from the 1880s. They have a lot of beers there. They have their own beers there. And Jacob Worth had his own brewery. It was a small thing for his restaurant. And it's Jacob Worth. It's still in existence in Boston on Stewart Street. It's old. I guess it's a landmark now. But you can eat there. And you might see some celebrities. I was there, and I don't really know all the celebrities. But I'd been there with my loving wife and my brother and his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife. And there were some two celebrities, female celebrities. If they're recognized, I saw their face. I knew them, but I don't remember their names. I couldn't even remember the names at the time, but I had noticed that I recognized them from things. But I just wanted to say that if you're in Boston, definitely go in and to that Jacob Worth and see that. This beer, this is also dedicated to the fishermen of New England. This is saying all the hard work that they've done. Thank you, is what they're saying on this fresh catch, because you can get some of the freshest fish in New England or the Northeast. Particularly in the Northeast, you can get some of the freshest fish for what these fishermen have done on these cold days and dangerous days too. And they've been out there. All right, I will do less talk. I want to say that Beer Advocate gave this a 4.9 out of 5. That's exceptional. They gave a 4.9 out of 5 on this blonde ale with dry hopped Citra. So, no further ado, let's get a nose to it. Now, the aroma isn't too strong on anything right now. A bit grassy or grainy, that smell. Yep, the citrusy comes out, the citrus. Mild malt, very mild. If you can pick up on that, that's sweetness, I guess. But citrus. I'm excited to try this. It's a new one out of Narragansett that I've just seen. And here we go. Bottoms up. It's crisp. Crisp in the finish and a sweet hop finish from the Citra, the dry hopness in it. You can taste the Citra. A sweet hop finish, really. The hops aren't overbearing. Neither is the malt. It's balanced. It's crisp. Definitely crisp. Gives that crisp finish. It's an ale. It's not a lager. So it's kind of odd getting that crispness out of the ale. The mouthfeel is light. I'm getting a light mouthfeel on that. It appears to be a lot of carbonation at first, but it seems to be undercarbonated a bit. Not undercarbonated, but not overly carbonated, I guess what I'm saying. Dried finish. Excuse my slurping, my lips smacking. But it's a crisp finish. It's a crisp drink. It's balanced brew for sure. I like it. It's tasty. Have the taste to it, so that's the main thing. Dry finish though. Definitely have a dry finish on this. So with that said, I don't know where this is brewed. If it was brewed by Genesee Brewing Company, or Genesee Brewing Company, what they call it, Cerveceria, Costa Rica, FIFCO, some company there. But it wasn't brewed in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It says Narragansett Brewing Company, Rochester, New York. So it doesn't come out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. But a lot of breweries do this, not to worry about that. Unless it was brewed out of the country. I wouldn't like that. That wouldn't be good. But it's a good tasting beer. I would get it again. Definitely being on the 4.2% alcohol by volume. Yes, I would get cases of this when I'm having a barbecue. Or just place out there grilling some food up. And the family's over, some friends come over, get a couple of 6-packs, as we call them a couple of rack of beer, which is a 6-pack. Excuse me. Burp. Yes, I would drink this again, and I would buy it again. So with that said, I salute, hats off to the brewer at Narragansett for brewing this fine ale. Sold on merit and made on honor. So that's a good thing, and I hope the honor is true, that it's an American ale. So with that said, folks, enjoy the day. If you're going to drink responsibly and don't drive. And I want to thank all the military veterans for what you have done and your families have sacrificed. Ciao.